Hey guys, for a brake fluid change, you'll need an adjustable wrench or a socket wrench, brake fluid, and a rubber hose to drain the fluid. The first step is to open the master cylinder. I find that squeezing the brake lever while doing this makes it easier to remove the cap. Next, you're going to want to attach your rubber hose to your bleeder screw. You can find this type of rubber hose at Home Depot or any hardware store. You can also find it on motorcycle sites like Revzilla. You can place the other end of the rubber hose in a bottle or a catch pan, anything that will contain the fluid, and probably help you transport it to your local auto parts store, who will go ahead and recycle it. Most people recommend having 2 people to do this job, but I find that it's easy for one person to do it. To start the brake bleeding process, you're going to want to build up pressure in the braking system by pumping the brake lever and keeping it squeezed. After a few pumps, go ahead and open the bleeder screw valve while squeezing the brake. You'll notice that the brake lever loses all of its resistance and presses up against the grip. Keep it squeezed for about 5 or 6 seconds while the valve is opened, and then go ahead and close the valve and repeat the process by pumping the brake lever again to build that pressure back up. As you repeat the process, your reservoir is going to lose brake fluid. Be sure to add more fluid every 2 or 3 cycles to keep it above that minimum line. This will prevent any air from entering the brake system. You're going to want to repeat this whole process about 7 or 8 times and ensure there are no air bubbles exiting the system any longer. This will ensure that your brake system has full hydraulic pressure. Once you're finished, remove the hose from the bleeder valve and clean up any remaining brake fluid. Make sure it doesn't damage any paint. If you're changing your rear brake fluid as well, you'll have to remove your left exhaust first in order to access the brake assembly. Once your bleeder hose is attached to the rear assembly, you're going to want to remove the side panel on the right side of your bike in order to access the brake reservoir. The rear brake reservoir has 2 screws that you have to detach in order to access the fluid. The rear brake fluid change is almost identical to the front fluid change. You could pump the foot brake a few times to build up pressure, then unscrew the brake valve slightly to allow fluid to release. You will feel the brake lever lose all pressure and drop to its lowest point. Keep it held there for 5 seconds or so to allow fluid to exit the system. Close the brake valve and pump the brake lever again up to build that pressure. The rear brake reservoir is smaller than the front reservoir, so you'll have to refill it more often than the front one. Just be sure to keep it above that minimum line at all times to prevent any air from entering the hydraulic system. Thanks for watching. Make sure you bring your old brake fluid to an automotive store or recycling center to make sure you dispose of it properly.